stimulus check, which he decided to donate to the food bank. He created this fundraising page on the organization's website.
I know there are other people out there that got this money that they realize they don't really need to survive, that might be willing to do something similar.
Hatcher is...
I've not met a cop who likes a bad cop. There's bad in everything. There's lousy senators, there's lousy presidents, there's lousy doctors, there's lousy lawyers. No, I'm serious. But I don't know any police officer that feels good about the fact that there may be a lousy cop. Now, I'm tired of not giving the kind of help they need. Folks, look.
Now, some of you guys may not automatically, some of you guys may not automatically get your fourth check. There are also huge changes to monthly benefits that may be coming next month. New delivery dates have been confirmed by state officials, and here is your daily update for your fourth stimulus check. A nationwide outage was reported with the SNAP program, leaving more than 1 million people without the ability to use their benefit transfer cards to make payments at retail stores. Agencies in Massachusetts and South Carolina reported on Sunday that customers are unable to make purchases with their electronic benefit transfer cards. The South Carolina Department of Social Services wrote in a Twitter post that it is aware of processing issues of electronic benefit transfer cards due to a third-party processor outage impacting programs in multiple states. The department later tweeted out that all the systems were restored, resolving the processing issues. The Massachusetts Department of Transitional Assistance also said in a Twitter post that electronic benefit transfer card processing in the state was affected, but later said that the issue was resolved. Several U.S. states have officially announced that they will offer additional SNAP benefits to eligible families. Households who meet the requirements for the extra food stamps will get these emergency allotments next month in the state's bid to provide families in need with financial aid. This assistance is intended to help households struggling to make ends meet as a result of joblessness or decreased hours of work following the crisis. Early this month, Governor Abbott announced that the state will provide more than $300 million in food benefits for 1.5 million Texas households. Now, Governor Abbott told reporters it is imperative that every family across our state has access to nutritious food. Through the extension of emergency SNAP benefits and the work of Texas Health and Human Services Commission, we are ensuring Texans have the resources they need to stay healthy. But Texas is not one of the states who have officially announced they will provide extra food stamps in September. There are various other states which have yet to make an official announcement, but they are expected to offer SNAP emergency allotments to their citizens who have struggled due to the rising prices and gas prices as well. Each state has announced their own guidelines, but if you have already received food stamps in the past, you may be able to automatically qualify for the extra financial aid. The food stamps can be used to purchase any food, including fruits, vegetables, meat, poultry, fish, and dairy products. States are now writing checks to help residents with everything from the crisis to inflation. If you had a tax liability last year, you'll be eligible for a tax rebate in Virginia this year. Those who filed individually can get rebates of up to $250, while those who filed jointly are eligible for rebates of up to $500. The states begin issuing the rebates in the fall. If you haven't filed a 2021 tax return yet, you have until November 1st to get in and receive a rebate. Another 60,000 families in Florida will soon receive a one-time payment of $450 per child. The money is a handful, being sent primarily to low-income families. Now, Illinois taxpayers earning less than $200,000 can also receive $50 each. Each dependent is eligible for $100 payments, for a maximum of $400 per household. In Pennsylvania, older homeowners and renters and people with disabilities received tax rebates beginning last month.
That we are doing here today. We are going to be signing an agreement with Western Governors University and our community colleges, but what this will do is we took the state of Nebraska to have Western Governors University, WGU, be a private nonprofit organization of higher education here in the state of Nebraska, which will have all sorts of benefits. So helping us talk about this.
Now, honest to God, what would you think? You'd think this is not a democracy. Well, let me tell you something. This is why in this moment, those of you in this country, Democrats, Republicans, and mainstream Republicans and independents, we have to be stronger and more determined and more committed to saving America.
Good morning. My name is Christopher Lamont. I am the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor here at the State Department. I want to welcome everyone to the third Leahy Vetting Conference, and thanks to those joining us virtually. I can say, for my part, it certainly feels like a lot longer than 3 years since we last gathered as a community in 2019. So it feels special to be back together. Let me say as well, I think it feels especially remarkable moment to have with us today two of our nation's most distinguished leaders in foreign policy. Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont with us this morning. Senator, I know that this phrase is used often, but I feel confident in saying today that we literally wouldn't be here today but for you. We're so pleased to have you with us in person today. Before you deliver your keynote remarks, Senator, we're also extremely fortunate to have with us Deputy Secretary Wendy Sherman to open our conference this morning. Deputy Secretary Sherman, by my count, you have served in senior State Department leadership positions for 3 presidents and 5 secretaries of state. In between your work on nuclear disarmament, for which President Obama awarded you the National Security Medal, and your exhausting travel schedule of diplomatic engagements with our allies, with our partners, and with our adversaries, you have been a steadfast champion throughout your career for human rights. You have stood up to abusive governments. You have stood with the advocates and activists on the front lines of these fights. So I want to say how lucky we are to have you with us today and to open this year's Leahy Conference. So with that, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chris. And thank you all so much for joining us for the 2022 Leahy Law Conference. I have the very special, distinct pleasure and true honor of introducing the namesake and driving force behind this important law, the Dean of the Senate, the President pro tempore, and our dear, dear friend, Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy. I also want to extend a warm welcome to Senator Leahy's wife and partner in all things, Marcel. Thank you for joining us this morning. And also want to make note of Tim Reeser, that most of us over the years have known, who tells us what to do and when to do it. And we're very grateful for his service to the country. From the beginning of this administration, President Biden and Secretary Blinken have vowed to put human rights back at the center of the United States foreign policy. And there's a very simple reason for that. When the United States stands up for universal human rights, for the rights of people everywhere to live with dignity, to worship according to their beliefs, to think what they will, and to speak their minds without fear, to be equal in the eyes of the law, to love who they love, and to live openly as who they are, it makes our country stronger. It helps safeguard our most important values for our children and grandchildren. It makes us more stable, prosperous, and secure. And it shows the world, especially those who violate the human rights of their own citizens or claim that there's no such thing as universal human rights at all, that the United States is committed to advancing and protecting human rights in our actions, not only in our words. That's what's at the heart